Filling the gap in Volkswagen's SUV range between the Tiguan and the Touareg, the Tayron is a much more convincing 7-seat family crossover than its Tiguan Allspace predecessor, and brings a premium feel to the mainstream brand 7-seat crossover segment.
The Tayron is a sharper looking kind of Volkswagen 7-seat family SUV, and here we're going to check it out. The Tayron is a bona fide Volkswagen. This slightly strange statement from the brand's CEO conceals a veiled reference that perhaps its predecessor wasn't. That car, the Tiguan Allspace, which sold for 7 years from 2017, was nothing more than a slightly stretched Tiguan with an extra seating row in a segment where customers expect 7-seat mid-sized SUVs to be bespoke designs, like the Peugeot 5008, the Nissan X-Trail and the Skoda Kodiaq. The Tayron shares virtually all of its engineering with the Kodiaq and, of course, with the Tiguan, but is, Volkswagen assures us, very much its own car, with a unique, quite premium look, inside and out, that's supposed to better fill the brand's SUV segment gap between the Tiguan and the Touareg. Does it? Well, to find out, you'll need the industry's most comprehensive review, the Car and Driving Road Test. As we'll tell you throughout this film, Volkswagen's tried its hardest to make this Tayron very much a standalone product. But one area where this SUV couldn't be any different from its Tiguan stablemate was in terms of engineering. The drivetrains, all paired of course to DSG Auto transmission, are pretty much exactly as you'll find them in that sister model, and very similar to those in that Volkswagen Skoda Kodiaq close cousin, which means a defiant diesel offering, or if you really want to move on from that, the latest in petrol plug-in hybrid tech. Unfortunately, like its VW Group segment stablemates, the Tayron lacks the self-charging full hybrid technology that you'd find in this sector with rivals from Kia, Hyundai, Lexus and to some extent from Peugeot too. Why the Wolfsburg conglomerate has never developed such an engine for mid-sized models in this era is difficult to understand. Your dealer might tell you that the entry-level 150 PS 48-volt mild hybrid 1.5e TSI petrol engine we're trying here offers much the same sort of thing as a proper self-charging full hybrid, but it doesn't, as an efficiency figure comparison will demonstrate. As usual with a mild hybrid, the eTSI engine works with a 48-volt belt starter generator and a 48-volt lithium-ion battery that gets charged through regenerative braking energy delivered when coasting or off-throttle. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 9.4 seconds en route to 127 miles an hour. What this engine really needs is a bit more mid-range pulling power, which is possibly why Volkswagen has decided to ignore the current anti-black pump fuel zeitgeist and continue to offer its 2-litre TDI 150 PS diesel unit in this segment. This unit's benchmark performance figures, 62 miles an hour in 9.7 seconds en route to 129, are much like those of the eTSI, but the 360 Nm torque figure that accompanies TDI progress is nearly 50% gutsier than this petrol model can manage. Hence this engine's improvement in brake towing capacity from 1.8 to 2 tons. If you need to tug along something heavier, you'll be pointed toward the top 2-litre TSI petrol power plant, offered in 204 and 265 PS forms, and for our market, the only unit in the range that's paired with 4Motion 4-wheel drive, which explains the much higher 2,400 kilogram brake towing weight capability. In this form, the Tayron's quite a rapid thing too, the 265 PS 2-litre model, able to make 62 miles an hour in 6.1 seconds en route to 149 miles an hour. We mentioned 4-wheel drive. That's something you still can't have in a plug-in hybrid Volkswagen SUV of any kind, which is odd because partner brand Audi standardises 4-wheel drive with basically the same PHEV technology. As with the Tiguan, e-hybrid versions of this Tayron are based around the 1.5-litre petrol engine and come in 2 versions with either 204 or 272 PS. Both feature a large 19.7 kWh battery and offer respective EV range figures of either 75 or 71 miles. Enough, Volkswagen reckons, to allow most families to use a Tayron e-hybrid much like an EV. You won't get anywhere close to those EV range figures, of course, if you use all the performance on offer. The 204 PS version makes 62 miles an hour in 8.6 seconds en route to 130. For the 272 PS variant, it's 7.2 seconds and 134 miles an hour. As with the Tiguan e-hybrid, the Tayron PHEVs use a 6-speed DSG Auto gearbox, replacing the 7-speed DSG Auto used in the conventionally engined models. Whatever kind of auto gearbox is fitted to your Tayron, it'll work with the brand's clever Eco Assist system, using navigation data to automatically modify throttle usage for greater efficiency, and able to proactively take into account local speed limit information, town boundary signs, junctions and roundabouts. We'd expected that this would also be accompanied by the standardisation of the brand's Travel Assist semi-autonomous drive system. It is, after all, now standard on all versions of the much smaller T-Cross, but no, Travel Assist is something you have to pay extra for on a Tayron. You might want it though, particularly if this car is likely to be frequently used for longer trips. To refresh your memory on Travel Assist, it's a setup capable of taking over the steering, braking and acceleration of this car at any speed, providing the driver keeps their hands on the capacitive steering wheel, which includes this Travel Assist button to activate the system. To achieve its supporting role, the Travel Assist system relies on two key features: lane assist for lateral guidance and adaptive cruise control for longitudinal guidance. You wouldn't expect a Tayron to be a particularly rewarding point-to-point conveyance across twistier routes, and it isn't. There's not enough steering feel for a start, which is a pity because the standard XDS Plus system offers plenty of traction through the turns and body rolls, quite well controlled for a big 7-seat SUV, except on the e-hybrid PHEVs where you really start to notice the extra curb weight. But what this Volkswagen offers instead is something arguably much more important: class-leading ride quality. Even with standard steel springs, potholes and speed humps are easily dispatched, and if you pay extra for the DCC Pro twin-valve adaptive damping system, which is standard with the e-hybrid, road undulations are dispatched with even greater disdain. That setup can be set to no fewer than 15 different formats and works through the usual eco, comfort, sport and individual settings of the driving profile selection drive mode system. Refinement's excellent too, helped by the standard fit acoustic glass, which apparently improves cabin noise by 5 decibels over the old Tiguan Allspace. Unlike its Tiguan Allspace predecessor, the Tayron shares nothing visually with the Tiguan it's based on, except perhaps that old model's low-key exterior vibe. You won't choose one of these if you want to stand out, which makes it rather curious that the Wolfsburg brand has decided that this should be the first of its models to get illuminated logos at both ends. This top R-line trim gets bespoke bumpers for a sportier look. At 4,792mm in length, this is quite a substantial thing, much bigger than the old Chinese market Tayron model and more relevantly for Europe, a full 7 centimetres longer than the Tiguan Allspace model this SUV replaces. It's 25 centimetres longer than the current Tiguan, and the only larger Volkswagen model is the Touareg, the next SUV up in the range. There's a powerful rear shoulder line and alternating concave and convex surfaces for the doors. Plus there are subtle roof rails, and a so-called hockey stick trim feature sees a chrome element flow back across the top of the glass house to culminate in an interesting silver fin on the D-pillar. The idea of this is to try and make the Tayron appear lower and more sleek than its 1,668mm height might suggest. Predictably, the big black plastic-clad wheel arches house large rims of between 18 and 20 inches in size. We've got 20 inches here. From the front, the overall look is very recognisably Volkswagen, with a large sculpted bonnet flowing into high-mounted dual LED headlights that can optionally feature the IQ Light HD Matrix tech that we've got fitted here. The finish of this lower grille section varies with trim choice, featuring chrome elements with mid-range elegant spec or a high gloss finish on this R-Line variant. At the rear, the current trend for full-width light bars is continued here. This one featuring a narrow illuminating LED strip to emphasise the car's 1,853mm width. As it runs towards the middle, this horizontal bar becomes narrower, meaning the lower half of the red illuminated Volkswagen badge appears to be freestanding. With a top variant like this one, the driver can choose between 3 different welcome and goodbye LED animations for the taillight clusters. This gloss latticed lower bumper treatment is unique to top R-line trim. Time to take a look inside. Well, it's certainly different from what's served up by a Tiguan, but in truth not that much different. So if you'd been hoping for more of a Touareg vibe, you'll be disappointed. Still, Volkswagen's done its best to give the Tayron cockpit more of an upmarket feel, hence the open pore wood, or as in this case, art velours suede type trimming of plusher versions and the soft leatherette surfaces that feature on all variants. It's certainly a more premium feeling space that you're offered with other mainstream brands in this segment. And if you can stretch to a version with these superbly supportive 14-way adjustable massaging ergo-active front seats, you'll get class-leading comfort too. Volkswagen isn't one of those brands that build the centre screen seamlessly into the dashboard or presents it as part of a dual fascia top panel. Instead, it's stuck like a bit of an afterthought to your left and rather takes over if, as here, you pay the extra to upgrade the standard 12.9-inch monitor to this 15-inch Infotainment Package Plus item. That'll be one thing you'll have to get used to if you're graduating into one of these from the previous Tiguan Allspace model, and there are others. Like the Tiguan, the Tayron features an EV-style steering column stalk transmission selector. And also, like the Tiguan, you're provided with this lower multifunction driving experience control, a single lower rotary dial that allows you to alter volume, drive mode, and the pre-configured settings of the ambient lighting system. Volkswagen calls these atmospheres and gives them rather cringy names like lounge, joy, energetic, minimal, and me. But you'll like the way you can match these to individual Spotify playlist settings to calm or liven up each journey. The 10.25-inch Digital Cockpit Pro instrument screen is the usual clearly formatted Volkswagen affair, rather than the cluttered Digitfest that so many Far Eastern makers serve up, and with the right steering wheel view format selected is capable of showing full screen mapping. For that, you'll need to select a screen layout with a configurable centre panel, which can also show drive assist graphics or trip data. There are actually 3 selectable layout formats, one with a central rev counter flanked by data circles, and then the 2 with the central data panel, one with twin dials and one with flanking square data boxes. Where the central display has flanking data, you can configure the left-hand side of the screen to show efficiency info, while the right-hand side of the screen can show things like phone and audio information and a compass. Overall, whatever layout format you select, this display is vastly better than the much smaller instrument screens you get on Volkswagen EVs. The complementing central infotainment monitor is a model of functionality with permanently displaying the upper and lower bars, the bottom section for temperature controls, the top right configurably populated by favourite functions. Click this lower blue framed square to view the information you want in various customisable widget tiles, or click this upper right app button to view a screen full of little icons, including of course the wireless App Connect, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto systems. Many of this display's applications can also be activated by the intuitive IDA voice control system, which can activate drive modes and has been configured to work with ChatGPT so that if it can't react to your question, it'll go away and search for an almost instant answer online before responding. It can also more accurately work with broad queries as well as specific ones. So, for instance, I'm hungry will bring up a list of local restaurants, whilst I'm cold will increase the interior temperature. What else? Well, for safety's sake, we always prefer to see a set of physical climate controls that don't require you to fish around in monitor menus, but the climate screen setup here, activated by a lower Climber button, works pretty well, filling the display with detailed graphics, which can then disappear with a touch of the provided central home button that allows you to return to the main menu. The cheap plastics you'll find lower down the dash on most rivals are generally absent here, and other little hallmarks of quality are frequently evident, like the carpeted door bins, the stitching on the upper and lower parts of the dash, and the way that the door card to dashboard surfaces mate together. Also nicely stitched and covered is the steering wheel, which hasn't been covered with the kind of cheap-feeling vegan material you now find used by so many rivals. But letting the side down a bit is the gear selector stalk we mentioned earlier, which has the kind of build integrity you'd find with a toddler's toy. Disappointing for something you interact with so frequently. As you'd hope, practicality's been well thought through. As on the Tiguan, there's this angled flap in the lower part of the centre console, which if you lift reveals twin USB-C ports and twin wireless charging mats. Between the seats, this nice ratcheting armrest covers a deep area with a removable cup holder panel and a 12-volt socket. Ahead of that, the twin cup holder section hasn't been covered, but the compartment with its integrated stays lifts out, revealing itself to be another cheap plastic fitting for times when you might want to use this space for something else. There's an overhead sunglasses compartment, a useful cubby by the driver's knee, and ticket clips in the sun visors. And as before, there are deep carpeted door bins that can hold a 1.5 litre bottle. OK, let's take a look at the second row. Where rear seat leg space on the sliding and reclining bench is quite generous, you'd struggle to fit in a centre-seated adult because of this prominent centre tunnel. If the centre seat is free, a centre armrest can be folded out, which offers you two cup holders. This extension can be swiveled left or right, and it has a joint at the front where tablets and smartphones can be locked in place. Though we can't help thinking of the danger that this rather complicated looking arrangement might well be taken apart or smashed with a drinks bottle by an inquisitive youngster in the first couple of weeks of ownership. Older kids will appreciate the provision of twin USB-C ports back here and the twin phone pockets in the seat backs, which sit above the main seat back pockets. Useful narrow bins are located along the seat sides, and there are big door bins and overhead reading lights. This 3-zone climate control panel is standard too. OK, what about the third row? Well, it's as well to point out that you don't get it with e-hybrid PHEV models, but Volkswagen standardises rearmost pews on all other variants. As usual with this class of 7-seat SUV, there's quite a step up needed to reach the very rear of the car, and the easy entry function frees up only quite a narrow aperture that also requires an adult to duck on entry. Volkswagen says that much of the extra wheelbase length this Tayron enjoys over its Tiguan Allspace predecessor is devoted back here, but it doesn't really feel like it. Third row space for adults is as restricted as is usual on this class of car, and anyone over school age will certainly need the cooperation of folk ahead if they're to get comfortable. You'd certainly be better off in a Sorento or a Santa Fe, though to be fair, those are slightly pricier cars. A trinket tray is provided on both sides, a larger one on the left, and there are overhead reading lights. But unlike with some rivals, there's no USB-C ports or a cup holder back here, and the headrests are of the sort that dig uncomfortably into the back of your shoulders unless you raise them up. Finally, let's take a look out back. Now here we've got a powered tailgate that can be activated by foot control. Bear in mind that the base spec variant does without this feature. This is where you actually do get the benefit of that extra 70mm of body length. With all seating rows in place, the hatch rises to reveal a 345-litre boot. That's 115 litres more than with a Tiguan Allspace. Most of the time, of course, you're going to be travelling with these third row pews folded into the floor, in which case up to 850 litres of space is available up to window level, which is 150 litres more than with the Tiguan Allspace, but is a figure that falls significantly to 705 litres with the Tayron e-hybrid variants. There are deep recesses, bright lights and tough fold-out bag hooks to the left and right, and an adjustable height boot floor, which can be usefully set in an angled open position. and beneath which the tonneau cover can just about fit when not in use. The inner tailgate has a warning triangle, but no lights to help when nighttime loading. If you need to accommodate longer items like skis, there's the convenience of a 40-20-40 split rear seat back. And the backrest reclining function means that you can put the second row seat backs into slightly more of an upright position if you're trying to fit in a car full of suitcases. You flatten the second row bench with these cargo sidewall catches, which not all brands provide in this segment. And with everything flat, there's up to 1,915 litres of space with a conventionally engined Tayron. As we filmed in early summer 2025, Volkswagen's pricing for this car was starting from around £40,000. And most Tayrons will be sold in the £45,000 to £50,000 bracket, which is pretty par for the course when it comes to upwardly mobile, mid-sized 7-seat SUVs these days. Expect the usual trim choice of life, match, elegance, or, as in this case, R-Line specs, plus a top R-Line edition variant. Volkswagen expects 20% of Tayron sales to be of the e-hybrid PHEV versions, priced from around £44,000. Despite the fact that with those you have to have 5 seats. All the other engine choices come with 7 seats. To get 4Motion 4-wheel drive in a Tayron, you have to have the 2-litre TSI petrol engine, only offered with the 2 R-Line spec levels and priced from just over £52,000. In terms of rivals, the most obvious one is the Volkswagen Group model, which is this car's closest rival and shares most of the same engineering, Skoda's Kodiaq, which costs fractionally less. The two key rivals from outside the Volkswagen Group are the Peugeot 5008, which will cost you about the same as a Tayron, and the Nissan X-Trail, which will cost you fractionally less. If you're looking at a pricier version of this VW, you might also want to consider the Land Rover Discovery Sport and the Kia Sorento, both priced from around £42,000 to £43,000 as we filmed. That Kia's similarly engineered Korean stablemate is Hyundai's Santa Fe, priced from around £48,000, which is nearly as much as you'd pay for the Mazda CX-80 offered as a PHEV or a diesel. If, having considered all of that, you conclude that it is a Tayron that you really want, then you'll need to know just how generous Volkswagen's been with standard specs, so let's take a look at that now. Even base Life trim gets you 18-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights with high beam assist, 3D tail light clusters, all-round parking sensors, keyless entry and an alarm. There's also roof rails, an illuminated Volkswagen logo at the front and rear, and power folding mirrors with puddle lights. Drive stuff includes adaptive cruise control, a Park Assist Plus system to steer you into spaces, Hill Start Assist, and the driving profile selection drive mode system. Inside, all models get a 10.25-inch digital cockpit Pro instrument screen, a multifunctional driving experience controller, a 3-zone air care Climatronic automatic air conditioner and a rear view camera. Plus sun blinds in the rear doors, a wireless charging mat and a first aid kit. As for media stuff, well, the 12.9-inch centre infotainment screen measures 32 centimetres across the diagonal with an activatable navigation function and wireless app connect for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Most potential customers will want to pay the relatively small amount that Volkswagen wants to upgrade to match trim, which adds a tilting and sliding panoramic glass roof, tinted rear laminated safety glass, silver roof rails, a powered tailgate with foot activation, and a more striking Bologna design for the 18-inch wheels. Mid-range elegance trim upgrades you to 19-inch wheels, signature illumination for the LED headlamps, an area view camera system, heated front ergo active seats with a massaging function, suede type art velours upholstery, ashwood dashboard inserts, leatherette door panels, a 30-colour ambient lighting system, and aluminium door sill scuff plates and some extra camera drive assist features, including the traffic jam assist setup that'll virtually drive the car for you in urban queues. If you want this sportier looking R-Line trim with its wider choice of petrol engines, then you get 20-inch Leeds alloy wheels, R-Line sports bumpers, Progressive steering, R-line interior highlights, a black roof lining, stainless steel pedals and art velour trim door panels. Top R-line edition spec is marked by a more striking York design for the 20-inch wheels and a black style package that adds an extra high-gloss black surface in the lower front bumper. What about options? Well, key extra cost features include a 700-watt Harman Kardon audio upgrade and a winter pack which gives you heat for the second row seats. We'd want the family package which gives you electrically activated rear door child locks, a 230-volt socket in the luggage bay and a luggage net. You could pay more for leather upholstery with ventilated front seats, and if budget permitted, we'd look at adding the DCC adaptive chassis control system with its 15 settings, a system which is standard only on the e-hybrid variants. Here we've got Volkswagen's IQ Light HD Matrix headlamps with their interactive lighting and the Infotainment Package Plus, which gives you a larger 15-inch central screen and includes a head-up display, which can also be ordered separately. This test car also has the optional driver assistance package, which includes Volkswagen's Travel Assist system, a semi-automated driving setup that combines adaptive cruise control and lane assist to provide a more relaxed and comfortable driving experience, especially on long journeys. Across the range, you can of course add a tow bar and the roof crossbars you'd need to fit a roof box or racks for skis or bikes. Bear in mind that unless you choose the only standard paint colour, a rather dour Urano grey, then you'll also be paying your Volkswagen dealer more for panel shade, even if you choose solid white. We've got Dolphin Grey Metallic here. And you really ought to tick the box for the space saver spare wheel too. On to safety spec. Now, there are 9 airbags, including curtain and side bags in the front and rear, and a centre bag in the front to prevent occupants there being thrown together in an impact. There's a tyre pressure loss indicator along with ISOFIX child seat anchors in the second row, and all models get lots of camera safety assist systems, of course, including the front assist automatic emergency braking system, including pedestrian and cyclist monitoring, an oncoming vehicle braking when turning function, swerve support, the side assist lane change system, lane assist lane keeping, dynamic road sign display and an exit warning system, which warns occupants who might be about to open doors into the face of approaching traffic. There's also rear traffic alert and a driver attention monitor. And if you avoid the 2 base trim levels, you'll also get an emergency assist feature that will bring the car to a controlled stop should you get taken ill at the wheel. It's all very reassuring. The economy figures aren't too much different from those of a Tiguan, which means that if you opt for the base ETSI petrol 1.5 litre mild hybrid petrol variant in base life trim, you're looking at up to 46.5 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 139 grams per kilometre of CO2. That's helped by active cylinder management, which sees 2 of the engine's 4 cylinders switch off as often as possible to conserve fuel. The base 2-litre TDI diesel does without this feature, but still manages to improve the efficiency returns to as much as 50.9 mpg and up to 145 grams per kilometre. For the top 2-litre TSI 4Motion petrol, 4-wheel drive 204 PS model, you're looking at up to 35.8 mpg and 180 grams of CO2. The same engine in 265 PS 4Motion form returns 33 mpg and 195 grams per kilometre. As we told you in our driving section, the e-hybrid PHEV models are capable of a significant level of EV range before you need to use fossil fuel. 75 miles for the 204 PS model and 71 miles for the 272 PS version. Volkswagen reckons that will allow many families to use this car as an EV, given German market research suggesting that 95% of journeys are less than 31 miles long and 99% are shorter than 62 miles. The 204 PS e-hybrid returns up to 9 grams per kilometre of CO2 and is rated at up to 696 mpg for the combined cycle. For the e-hybrid 272 PS version, the figures are 10 grams per kilometre of CO2 and 625.9 mpg. Either way, think in terms of around 560 miles between refuelling stops, a duration which would be even longer if the PHEV model didn't suffer a 10-litre reduction in the standard Tayron's already rather small 55-litre fuel tank size. A Tayron e-hybrid can be charged with up to 11 kilowatt AC and 40 kilowatt DC, the latter of which means the car can be topped up from 10 to 80% in just 26 minutes. What else might you need to know? Well, across the Tayron range, a first service is needed at 9,300 miles or 12 months, followed by services at 18,600 miles or 24 months, and then 27,900 miles or 36 months. After the first 3 years, the Tayron will likely require either a minor service every 12 months or 10,000 miles, or a major service every 2 years or 20,000 miles. And warranties, well, the unremarkable standard package is 3 years and 60,000 miles. Obviously, you can buy longer warranty packages, but you shouldn't have to. Partner brand Cupra offers a 5-year and 90,000 mile warranty with its cars. Volkswagen should offer that too. Residuals should be quite strong. The old Tiguan Allspace retained 51.7% of its value after 3 years and 36,000 miles, and we'd expect this Tayron to slightly better that. Insurance grouping start at Group 25 for the ETSI, while the TDI diesel is Group 26. The e-hybrid 204 PS model is Group 30, with the hybrid 272 PS at Group 33, and the top 2-litre TSI 4Motion model is Group 35. Don't expect the Tayron to be a common sight on our roads, but there are grounds for Volkswagen to hope that it will do rather better than its quickly forgotten Tiguan Allspace predecessor. For a start, unlike that car, you don't have to have a third seating row for this model to make sense, though customers are probably going to mostly want it. If you've ever wished, you could have the posh premium feel of, say, a BMW X3, an Audi Q5 or Mercedes GLC, but with the added convenience of 7 seats, the Tayron could well be your car. There are a few disappointments. We struggle to understand why a brand as big as Volkswagen can't produce a plug-in hybrid version of an SUV in this class with 7 seats and 4-wheel drive. And the Wolfsburg conglomerate's lack of a self-charging full hybrid powertrain continues to confound us. That would really suit a car like this. But the powertrain formats you do get are smooth and efficient, and we love this Tayron's class-leading ride and refinement. It's also easy to live with and practical to own. Other segment alternatives make similar claims, of course, but after trying them following a Tayron test drive, you might end up feeling that you'd be prepared to pay just a touch more for Volkswagen ownership. And we'd understand it if you did.